Kata sighed as she lay down in her bed, bored out of her mind. It had been a few days since she became general of the Midoriya Foundation Army. She'd set up squadrons and bases around the entirety of Japan, making sure even the most remote of villages weren't more than a few miles away from a Midoriya Foundation outpost. After a bit more setup work, the bases more or less ran themselves. And they didn't have to do all that much. Their people sectioned in larger cities had most of their work done by pro-heroes except for dealing with riots, and the ones placed in remote regions had very little to do. The only exception to this was the people she'd placed in smaller cities. That had fewer pro-heroes, but just enough of a population from a decent amount of crime to occur. The soldiers there were often taking in small-time criminals on their own and assisting the few pros that were there. Of course, none of that left Kata with very much to do. She was currently left relaxing in the main military base for the Midoriya Foundation, an island not too far away from Japan. Ugh, God, wasn't Japan supposed to be in chaos? Why does it feel like nothing's happening? Kata sighed as she stared at her ceiling. Knock, knock, knock. Ma'am, I have an urgent report, said a soldier on the other side of the door. Kata's eyes widened and a smirk came onto her face. She immediately jumped up and ran to the door, slamming it open. What? We've encountered one of the shadow dragons, the soldier said. Encountered? So you lost it? Kata hissed, causing the poor man in front of her to flinch. Its appearance was too sudden, and it moved too fast for our people to pin it down. The soldier defended. TSK, I don't want your excuses. Tell me what it was doing, where you found it, and what its abilities were. Kata demanded. It was attacking a power plant in Daika City. It seemed to be absorbing the electricity, leaving the city without power. The soldier explained. We thought it was a regular villain at first, but when we found the Dragon Ball in its body. It shot out lightning at our men, which disoriented them for a moment, and then, in a burst of lighting, it sped away, heading west. After this, we compiled a series of reports that power stations in small cities and towns had been attacked in the months leading up to this, by an unknown assailant. All right, I can work with that, Kata said, already planning something in her head. Give me a map and pinpoint all the locations that had been attacked up until this point. Also, pinpoint every power station in the country. If this thing is too fast, we just need to make sure it can't run away. In the small city of Akana, the power plant was working as usual. Until… shroom! Suddenly something like a bolt of lightning crashed through the gates of the power plant, immediately causing everyone around to stop and jump back in fear, and look at the smoking crater the impact had left. Then, from the crater, something walked out. A 9-foot-tall humanoid dragon. Its body was covered in steely, sharp scales that made it look like it had armor on except for the 5-star dragon ball in its shoulder. Coming out from above it was a long tail, the end of which looked like a spear. Its reptilian head looked at the main generator, its silted yellow eyes focused on only one thing. The dragon started walking towards the main generator, while everyone else ran away screaming. It made it to the generator and then rammed its fist into the generator. Immediately, electricity burst onto his body and was soaked into him. Yes, the dragon hissed. More power! Bang! Suddenly, a missile was shot at his back, exploding on contact. Gah! The dragon groaned, shaking his head as he recovered from the explosion. It didn't do any damage, but the flash had blinded him for a second. He turned his head to see that one of the workers had taken out what looked to be a rocket launcher and had shot him. Payload delivered. Move! 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 Shouted the worker into an earpiece as he ran back. Suddenly, portals opened up all around the dragon, and Midoriya Foundation soldiers wearing heavy armor, and lastly, Keita herself, donning black armor and no helmet. Fire! Keita ordered. But don't hit the ball. TCH. The dragon immediately tried to move away. Run! But he found the only thing he could move was his head. Little did he know that the rocket that had been launched at him contained a cracked fractal. This one inflicts a paralyzing effect. PWM. 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 Rah! The dragon cried out in pain, as chaos energy shots slammed into his body, shooting the scales right off of various parts of his body, as well as giving him some burns and bruises. He's tough. Don't let up. Keita ordered again. Fire! Rah! The dragon's body exploded with lightning. The lightning slammed into the soldiers around him, but Keita put up a wall of fire in front of her just before she got hit, blocking the lightning. Quickly she made the fire spread around the dragon, creating a massive wall of fire around it that blocked the lightning from reaching the soldiers. Ma'am, the suits have taken little overall damage, but enough blast will fry the machine parts. We'll be sitting ducks. One of the soldiers reported. Then fall back. I'll handle this. Keita ordered. All heavy armor units retreat. First things first, let's make sure it can't run away. That fractal's effects might wear off soon. Keita thought. The wall of fire moved up and then started warping until it formed a dome of fire. Then she added more layers of fire to the dome, making it thicker. Humph, you're done. Keita closed her fist, and the dome started to shrink until it became very small. Growling. Rah! The dragon managed to move its limbs again, although much more sluggish, and it tried to force its way through the walls of fire, only to find that the fire was solid, like a wall of reinforced steel. It tried to shoot out lightning, but that couldn't pierce through the walls either. Ashen Maiden, Kata cried out. Suddenly, fire spears burst out from the side of the walls, piercing through the parts of the dragon that had already been exposed by the blaster shots, and impaling it in various places. "Gah! Damn you!" The dragon cried out in rage, as it could feel the fire pour in through its wounds, spreading throughout its body and burning its insides until shink! The fire inside its body exploded outwards in the form of spears, popping out of every part of its body from head to toe, all except for the shoulder where its dragon ball rested. With that, the dragon went limp, and its body turned into black smoke, leaving only the dragon ball, which fell to the ground with a plunk. With that, the fire faded away. Kata formed a glove made of fire and walked over, picking up the ball. Shadow Dragon neutralized. Dragon Ball retrieved. All units fall back. Excellent work, General, Izuku praised. Kata was back at base, taking a video call from Izuku, who was very pleased. And Kata also seemed to be rather happy with herself. "I hadn't dared hope that you would find a shadow dragon in less than a week, let alone capture one," Izuku said, looking very impressed. "0 casualties, 0 injuries, a little property damage, but far less than what would be expected. You far surpassed my hopes for you, General. And that goes beyond just this mission. So far your command over the forces across Japan has gone splendidly. Just enough to be effective, but not too much as to cause the public to grow upset. Well, aside from the ones who were opposed to me having a military at all. But there's nothing we can do about that. The point is, I think you deserve a reward. What would you like?" "Sir, you flatter me. I'm simply doing what you pay me to do." Kata smirked. "But, if you're so set on rewarding me, perhaps one of those fractal weapons would do. I know I have access to all the fractals, but I'm talking about something more especially made for me." "Consider it done," Izuku said. "I'll also be giving you a raise. I think it's more than deserved. Well, unless you'd like something else, I think I should let you get back to work." "I'm good, sir. Please, enjoy your day," Kata said with a bow. The video cut off, and Kata was left smirking like a mad dog. That was what she was talking about. Praise, acknowledgement, rewards. This is what she deserved. She could already imagine how this would have gone if she was still in France. "Kata, why didn't you stop it earlier? Kata, why didn't you keep it from destroying the generator? Kata, why didn't you keep it from damaging the suits? Kata, why did your special move have to be so scary looking? Damn, those people were annoying. They acted like she could just snap her fingers and deal with the problem. Her sister didn't have to deal with this. But NOOO. Because she got the scary fire powers and didn't act like a damn saint, she was less popular, and so she had to deal with all this garbage. But not anymore. Midoriya appreciated her talents and understood that you can't beat a villain who's worth their salt without there being some level of damage done to something. Oh, and the massive pay and literal army she got to command didn't hurt either. And she really liked being called general. Well, better get back to work, Kata said to herself as she walked away. I've got to make sure everyone knows my greatness.